So it's been a couple of days and I wanted to give you guys into a deeper dive of why I decided to make the decision to fire basically all of my property managers. So first of all, let me just say that this is way too long for posting on Instagram and things like that. I know that my other video was like 5 minutes long and yeah, just way too long. So I'm throwing this on YouTube. I'll put obviously a post on Instagram and Facebook just so people know that it's there. And I've created kind of a little playlist on my YouTube channel that's just going to talk about, for those of you who are interested, I mean, if you're not, go ahead and, listen and watch the podcast and any of my FAQ videos. But I think this is a place in my office to discuss things like business, like entrepreneurship, like trying to see what I could do better. Love your comments. We can interact on it. Maybe you'll get something from it. Maybe you can suggest something to me. But yeah, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur, or you're in a business, high-level manager that you're just kind of maybe reached your wit's end with what I had to do last week and that resonates with you, then hang out here and we'll see what happens. All right, so deeper dive. As I had said last week, I had just kind of had it. I only did a 5-minute video. The purpose of this long YouTube format is to really get into the weeds of why I thought it necessary to actually terminate 6 positions. It's very drastic. Most of you know we've got a 20-person company, so by no means have I lost everybody. I've still got my middle management staff, senior management, admins, my field staff, field operations, my leasing agents and things like that. But when I started this company 20 years ago, to me, property management comes easy because I've been doing it so long. Obviously 20 years ago it was third-party management, but 26 years ago, I started out as a landlord myself, and my ex-business partner, just trying to learn the ropes like many of you might be if you happen to be in real estate. And that's like anybody starting a business. You start a business, you put your heart and soul into it, you get some customers, you're working your butt off, you've got the grind there, 16, 18, 20-hour days. All of a sudden you've got a following, you've got some steady customers. Maybe after 2 or 3 years you start making a profit, now you're taking a salary. And then you get to that magic decision point, that tipping point where you just can't do it anymore. Whether it's you and your family or you and your business partner, and you have to hire somebody. And I'm going to be diving into this in later, I don't know, you call these episodes or something, discussions of how do you get somebody to operate the same way you do as an operator. Not just in speed, but really taking care of the customer, because no matter what industry you're in, this is a customer service business. So the story is, I have been out of the company for a couple of years in terms of really actively in it. I've owned it. I turned it around using EOS, Traction, Gino Wickman, to the point that I'm almost a silent owner. I think the EOS book talks about visionary. We can have a discussion again on EOS if you guys want, and drop me a comment below there. And that actually says to meet with your leadership team once a week, which I was doing, and that's great. And I've now resumed the director of operations role in the company, and I've moved my existing director of operations more into an operations manager role, which really does suit him a little bit better. But he went on holidays, and so he asked me to cover. So I was running some meetings and running some training meetings. And one of the first questions on day one was, we've just had somebody move out. What's the next process? Actually, I think it was an eviction. Okay, so-and-so hasn't paid their rent. What's the next process? I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, if you've been here that long, that's such a basic thing of property management, but of course, it's not that easy, right? And I said, well, did you start with the checklist, right? Because obviously, I mean, our eviction checklist, I think, is 3 pages long. I think it has 70 or 80 single items on it. You know, notifying the owner that we're going to be doing this and posting a notice and making a phone call. Like, we're very structured in everything we do. And when I said, did you use the checklist? What do you think they said back to me? Okay, I can't hear you, so I'm going to say it. They said, what checklist? What checklist? Okay, so I grit my teeth a little bit. Go to the second day, I think that was Monday, we go to Tuesday. Okay, well, I say, are there any questions in our sort of group training meeting? Well, and then there's another question. I'm like, okay, well, that's, how do we put somebody on a mediated agreement? I have somebody who wants to make payments. Okay, great. Well, did you start with the checklist? You guessed it. What checklist? So, you know, I'm okay, fine. So I explain, I show them where the checklist is. Obviously, I'm thinking in my mind, like, how is this happening? We have SOPs, we've got checklists, and these things have been around for years. It's not like we just, you know, we're over a 20-year-old company. This is Property Management 101. So towards the end of that week and the week after, now I'm starting to dig into a lot of the tickets. We run everything off service tickets, and I'm not digging into the tickets because I'm snooping. I'm digging into the tickets because I'm training, I'm looking at things, whatever. And here again, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of communications that could take, I don't know, 2-3 minutes of a back and forth text message conversation, turning into 2, 3, 4 weeks because of slow communication. But worse than that, not understanding the context of what the client is asking. And that's the worst thing of all, because that creates poor customer service. It's not enough for me to respond fast. Like, we had a very, very good system. We had people waiting in a queue, live phone calls, all that type of thing. Switched to a remote property management model, worked really, really well, where you had more person-to-person service. But what really, the straw that broke me was looking inside some of these tickets and ChatGPT. Now, don't get me wrong, I use it, it's fantastic, but it is a tool. What's the date today? December 21st, 2023. So right now, AI is going crazy. There's all these things that are happening in the news, regulation, everything else. And I mean, I use it, but what I saw was direct copy and paste from my employees and ChatGPT directly into a text message, into an email. And context is everything, and ChatGPT is just over the top. You can tell it's AI. I mean, let's just even take a text message, right? When you're going back and forth with a text message, it's different than formal email communication. But when you're texting within our computer system, we know that we're sending a text to a tenant. So if you copy and paste ChatGPT in there, hello, hope you're having a wonderful day and you're in good health and blah, blah, blah. In the middle of a text message, I'm sorry, it's just weird, right? And out of context and everything else. And again, like I said, you miss that context. All of a sudden, there's, you know, somebody said they want to take 2 days extra to pay their rent, and they say, by the way, my hot water tank is blown and leaking. All of a sudden, there's thousands of dollars of damage. And that, you know, brings me to the point of attention to detail. I think I had mentioned it. It's just, it wasn't there. And so, yeah, I mean, those 3 things. So now I'm like, okay, what do I do? Clearly there's a problem. And like any medium-sized company, small company like ours, you know, we've got 20 employees. Again, I'm happy with everybody except my property managers. And so I'm trying to think of what to do. I could do all the HR things and go through probation and learning contracts and all the little things that we do. But I just didn't have the confidence that that would make a difference. That would, you know, how do I put it? It's not that it wouldn't make a difference. It's that if you get rid of 2 people and you bring 2 people back on, Now, while those people are training, myself, my operations manager, all the other staff who are having to pick up the slack for those 100, 200, 300 extra units that the two people were looking after, everything gets stressed. And at the end of the day, who suffers? My tenants, my owners, my vendors, my clients. And I mean, it was already bad enough. I didn't want to make it worse. So I was in kind of a conundrum. And I had said kind of flippantly to my wife, who hates me doing this, by the way, on social media, but we'll talk about that in a second. And I just said flippantly, it might even be easier for me just to start over, just do everything myself, be the single point of communication and contact, even if it kills me, because at least my clients are getting better service and communication. And that's a start, right, to turn this company around. So that's where the thought process took me. We are a very methodical company, right? We don't do things just off the cuff. And I mean, obviously, maybe my social media posts made it seem like yes, I lost my temper, but make no mistake, we took 4 or 5 days and really analyzed and thought, okay, what are the ramifications? What are the long-term effects? You can't just fire 6 people. Who's going to do the work? What does our budget look like? Should we use subcontractors? Should we hire more people right away? Like, what should we do? How do we pick up the pieces? So at the end of the day, at the end of that week of analyzing and running different scenarios, we decided that, okay, we were going to let those 6 people go or leave them other duties. And then I was going to be the sole person that's going to communicate, because really, I mean, it's my company. It's my knowledge and the way I like to speak to people, the way I think people should be spoken to, with respect, with empathy, and assertiveness. I mean, when a property owner does not want to change a lock or fix something that's, going to cost them a tenant or cost them a city inspection and thousands of dollars in extra things when they could just change the $50 lock, you need to be assertive, not disrespectful, but assertive, and tell them, no, you need to do this or these consequences are going to happen. If you still can refuse to do that, okay, we'll deal with the consequences, or as I have done in many cases, we can't work together because I don't want to manage a property that has a broken lock forever, or whatever it is. So yes, we were going to have me doing all of that for the next 2 or 3 months, try to capture everything that I'm doing. So now it's pure first-hand information, and put that stuff into the training manual. How do I get my employee to do the same work and quality that I am as a founder, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur? And it's really difficult. It's really, really difficult. It's not that, again, probably some of my ex-employees, and I apologize for if you're watching this, I don't want anybody to feel bad. They're all wonderful people. I like them all as human beings. It's just, like I said, that lack of attention to detail, and I just didn't think it was possible to go retrain and not be in the same place in a year's time, and now I've wasted a year and maybe lost more customers. So to me, it's not enough to be a good person. It's not enough to have company engagement and all of those things. I felt that I needed to just get people that could have a good attention to detail in property management and have that effort and making sure that everything that you're thinking just into the future, right? A big picture, predicting what could happen. I need a fortune teller as a property manager. And that's what kind of keeps me up at night, because once, I've already started to stabilize things, but it's going to take a few months. Once those few months are up, I didn't sign up for this. I exited the company for a reason, because I have my real estate developments. So what do we do in 3 or 4 months? And that's the magic question that we're going to be discussing in this playlist. Love to hear your comments and suggestions on that. So I think that's about it. I'm going to have other updates. Again, if you're joining the channel and you want to see this kind of stuff, and you're an entrepreneur or maybe a high-level manager and you're having issues with employee engagement or just anything to do with business and entrepreneurship, and transparency. That's why I'm doing this. It's not a polished video, not wearing a suit. I'm in my office, literally just turned on the camera and put a microphone on. And yeah, we'll have a discussion. And I hope this actually helps. People have reached out to me. I think that's the most heartfelt thing, reaching out to me after me bearing my soul on social media and saying, hey, I admire you for doing this. A lot of people wouldn't have the guts to be so transparent and air your troubles, your dirty laundry or whatever out there, but people have reached out to me with a show of support, offering help, offering volunteer. And unfortunately, I can't really take anybody's help as much as I love all of you who have offered help, because I kind of have to allow my team to capture what I'm doing and how I'm communicating, right? I mean, any business owner kind of understands that. And I will ask for help when the time is right. I can't do this and I can't keep this pace up. But yeah, anyways, I find I'm rambling on a little bit too much. It's a long form video. Won't be on social, on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. I might throw a little tiny post out there just to let you guys know. And that's it. I'll have another update in a couple days. Maybe next time we'll talk about, you know, what the state looks like and what I've discovered. There's a teaser for you, but thanks for watching.